Hello YouTube, this is GeekyAustin, and I recently went and seen the new movie Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Directed by J.A. Bayona, this film follows the characters from the previous film Jurassic World as they return to Isla Nublar to rescue the dinosaurs from massive extinction from a reactivated volcano. And returning cast from the previous film includes Chris Pratt as Owen Grady, Bryce Dallas Howard as Claire Deering, and B.D. Wong as Henry Wu. Among some of the new folks, there's Justice Smith as Franklin Webb, Daniela Pineda as Zia Rodriguez, James Cronwell as Sir Benjamin Lockwood, and Rafe Spall as Ellie Mills, Ted Levine as Keen Wheatley, and Isabella Sermon as Macy Lockwood. Now, overall, I will go ahead and get this off my shoulder right quick. This movie was a disappointment. Now, I didn't hate the movie. I still did enjoy what the final result was. I still find it an enjoyable Jurassic Park movie like all the other ones are. They're all enjoyable in their own ways. But compared to the previous one, Jurassic World, this one was just a letdown. And this is something that I really had to think on to realize. The previous movie, Jurassic World, while it may not be critically the best Jurassic Park movie, definitely nowhere like the original, a little bit silly at times, I still left the movie spending the next couple of days, the entire night, and just talking about the movie to myself and other folks, thinking about all the fun that was in it, the positive stuff, just everything, the action just goes on and goes on. This movie, however, I just realized that I spent all of yesterday and today doing nothing but nitpicking it. And this is something I've never done to a movie before, especially a Jurassic Park movie. That's really not a good thing for a movie to make you want to do after seeing it. When you go out of a movie, you want to just think about the good stuff that was in it. So, that's a little disappointing right there. But anyways, I'll go ahead and mention the good stuff out of the way and all. The CGI is just as good as Jurassic World, and for most scenes, it looks even better. I feel that they really did clean up a lot of the CGI from the way it looked in the previous movie, and it looks better. The music, I feel, is pretty good as well. I feel it's just as good as Jurassic World's music. It does not have as much of a reference to the original Jurassic Park themes or Journey to the Island themes from the first movie. You do hear them in the score in some spots, but unlike Jurassic World, it's not as big of a presence. That was a little disappointing, but still, I enjoyed the soundtrack for what it was. And most of the performance from the actors was pretty good. Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, once again, they did a good job as they did in the previous films. Heck, Dallas Howard actually did a better job as Claire Deering from the previous movie. She did a little bit better job in this one. But still, they're both pretty good actors, and I still like how they turned out. And then, of course, B.D. Wong's character, Henry Wu. His performance in this wasn't too bad, but like the previous movie, there's not a whole lot of development with him. He is still there as just a bad guy scientist, basically. It would have been nice if they did a little bit more with him. And about the only other performance that I didn't think was too bad was Daniela Pineda's character, Zia Rodriguez, who is a paleo veterinarian. She didn't do a great bit in the movie, but for the little scenes that she has, I didn't think she did too bad. And of course, Jeff Goldblum's brief cameo as Dr. Ian Malcolm. And that's just about it on the good performances. Like I said, all these folks here, I like them, and I think they did a good job for the few scenes that they had here and there, so not too bad right there. And also, the entire first half of this movie, this is where the gold of the movie is. Going to the island to rescue the dinosaurs, and then returning to the island on the ship. This is where the movie is at its best. Both visually, acting-wise, story-wise, all this, even adrenaline-wise, with the chase away from Isla Nublar as the volcano comes down, which is the best action scene in the entire movie. That is really just about it. That's where the best parts of the movie is. Right around the halfway point of the film, where it gets sorta into its real plot for the movie, that's where the movie just starts to take a nosedive. It just slowly drops from there. Yeah, I'll mention about that when I get to the bad stuff in the movie. And, yes, the atmosphere. The atmosphere in this movie, even in the bad moments of the movie later, which I'll mention, the atmosphere in this entire movie was really, really good. Some of my favorite scenes, which in the opening would be the Tyrannosaurus Rex appearing from lightning shots. It's raining, there's a thunderstorm over on Isla Nublar, and lightning strikes, and you see the T-Rex briefly for just a second before he eats down on a person. I really love that cinematography, and the atmosphere that builds up to it is really good. And there are lots of other scenes that are like that, especially with the Indoraptor in the second half. And yeah, I can just go on, but if there's anything that this movie did very well, it did extremely well with its atmosphere, which at times definitely gave off a few eerie moments. And of course, another thing about the movie that I was very happy to see was that there were more animatronics in this one. Even though I really enjoyed Jurassic World, one of my biggest gripes with the movie was that too much CGI. And that's out of respect for the Jurassic Park films. Every Jurassic Park movie has strived its best to contain a few animatronic scenes and puppetry or folks in costumes. Something that special effects gold is always going to be. It's always going to be perfect with practical effects. This movie, we had an animatronic T-Rex, and we also had an animatronic Blue when she's getting fixed, when she gets shot. And like I said, those few moments right there with the animatronic dinosaurs, they look fantastic. The CGI and the animatronic effects, practical effects, they blend in a lot more in this one too. The special effects overall, the CGI, the animatronics, the ambient lights, atmosphere, any of that, it's all really good. But then, of course, we can get into the negative things about it. Like I said, I didn't hate this movie. I did enjoy it. But where it really disappointed me was in the second half of the movie. Like I said, when we get to the second half of the movie, the real plot kicks in. Which is where we find out that all the dinosaurs that were being exported off the island are being sold on the black market. And at first, I thought this was an absolutely ridiculous idea, but maybe if they pull the right strings, they could make this work, but still, this is not exactly what I was expecting. I only watched 2 trailers when they were announced. I didn't look at any more trailers because the second trailer spoiled too much of the movie. And I'll go ahead and say this right now. If you watched all the trailers, then I feel sorry for you guys. I have to apologize for y'all that recently seen the movie after watching the trailers. The trailers spoiled way too much of the movie. So yeah, even though I watched the 2 trailers, I still didn't know that the dinosaurs were going to be sold on the black market. I only knew about the Indoraptor. Then of course the Indoraptor portion itself, where the Indoraptor breaks free and starts causing havoc throughout the entire complex. That part of the movie was not bad atmosphere-wise, like I said. When it comes to the atmosphere, with the dark lights and everything, partially showing the Indoraptor's abilities they show in the movie, like him tapping down on the ground with his claws, which is a nice little callback to the original film. Like I said, all of that, they really did a good job building up the atmosphere. But that's really about it for the Indoraptor. The Indoraptor wasn't interesting enough. He was nowhere as interesting as the Indominus Rex from the previous movie. It was just a bigger, smarter raptor. He's barely in the movie and he gets axed off very quickly. Because not too long after he is released, the main characters get up onto the roof as the Indoraptor chases them. Blue comes out of nowhere and jumps down on the Indoraptor, and they both crash through the glass ceiling onto a Triceratops skull, impaling the Indoraptor and killing it. He shows up, he causes a little bit of havoc, a little bit of suspension, he chases the main characters for a few minutes, and then he's axed off. So, for me anyways, I wasn't too happy about how the Indoraptor turned out. And then, of course, on the second part of the movie, we get into the main problem with it. Like I said, those were two serious problems, but the main problem with the second part of the movie are the villains. The villains in this movie are cardboard cutouts. The main villain, Ellie Mills, played by Ralph Spall, he was basically Peter Ludlow 2.0. His main goal was to get to the dinosaurs onto the mainland under his mansion to sell them on the black market. In other words, he was in it for the money. Sounds like another character, doesn't it? A big billionaire person wanting to bring dinosaurs over to the mainland in order to earn money. The only difference is, of course, he wanted also to build dinosaurs as weapons for the military. That also sounds familiar too, doesn't it? Straight from the main villain of the previous film. I really don't understand why the main villain for this movie, they had to basically borrow elements of villains from the previous films. I just don't get why they had to do this. And then, of course, the second villain character, Ken Wheatley, played by Ted Levine, his acting through some of the movie wasn't bad. He came off as a bit of a tough guy, basically, a tough hunter. And for that part of it, it was like, alright. But then he pulls off the most dumbest thing that villains in Jurassic Park movies have ever done. He goes over and opens up the gate to the Indoraptor and walks in just to steal a tooth off of him. He tranquilizes the Indoraptor and then goes in to steal a tooth because he's obsessed with collecting animal teeth. He gets killed and the raptor is free. And the whole time, I was just flat out face-palming myself because a villain in a Jurassic Park movie has never been that stupid. So, yes, the villains in this movie are where it suffers the most. They're cardboard cutouts, and they're mostly just copycats of previous villains from previous films. Other than that, the only other character in the movie that I didn't particularly care for, but he didn't annoy me as bad as these two did, would have been Justice Smith's character, Franklin Webb. Franklin Webb in the movie is basically a serious computer hacker who knows the mainframe of Jurassic World and knows how to hack into its systems to get everything running and opening. For that part, okay, he works for that part. I understand why they needed him. But he is a coward. He suffers from panic attacks and is constantly afraid in the movie and is only there for comic relief. And sure, some of the scenes with him, I had a little bit of a chuckle. But when you think of it realistically, there is no way that a character like him would be allowed to go to an island, especially to even get on the plane if he's scared of flying on planes. It's like, yeah, it's a ridiculous decision making. And other than that, that's about all the negatives I had. The first half of the movie is where the gold is. It doesn't hold up like the first Jurassic World does, but it's still really good. The second half, however, like I said, that is where it just flatlines, basically. And it doesn't flatline so bad to where I wanted to walk out, because at the end of the movie, I still felt that I watched something that was enjoyable. But, man, was I disappointed. And other than that, basically, the ending of the movie leaves it open for the third movie, which is what I feel they really wanted to do. They wanted to get this movie made and just get it out of the way so they can get on to their third movie, which literally will be Jurassic World, though I'm not sure how they're going to make it work. Because that's where the biggest question of the movie comes from. How is the future films going to work? Because yes, at the end of the movie, all the dinosaurs are released, and they're wandering off into the mainland. And it leaves it on an open note that possibly dinosaurs will now take over the Earth. And, like I said, the biggest problem with this is that the movie pretty much implies that maybe 11 species of dinosaurs were taken off the island, maybe less. And realistically speaking, I know a tank can take down a T-Rex. So I don't know where they're going to go with this. I don't know how they're going to make it work. They really got to come up with something genius to make this idea work, because my mind thinks realistically that the idea of the dinosaurs taking over the mainland is a little far-fetched. But then other than that, I'd also just mention one of the best part of the movie when it comes to imagery would be, like I said, the entirety of the volcano erupting on Isla Nublar. That entire segment was really good. It was riveting. It was fun to watch. And it ends on a very haunting note, where you see a Brachiosaurus on the shoreline roaring out in pain as the fire consumes him. That's really good imagery. That is something that I wish the rest of the movie had. So overall, this movie, again, was a disappointment, but I did not hate it. There was a lot of stuff in this movie that was good. The directing was good, some of the acting was good, the CGI, the music, the special effects, the atmosphere, a little bit of the imagery, it was all good. Where the second half of the film goes, however, that is where the movie suffers. Where the ridiculous plot that pretty much forms right there, the uninteresting final villain dinosaur, which was nowhere near an Indominus Rex, the weak cardboard cutout villains, and, like I said, the question of how even the next film could possibly work. But as I stated, I didn't leave the movie upset. I left the movie happy. I still did enjoy it, but at the same time, man, oh man, this movie could have been better. It should have been better. So overall, I'm going to have to give this movie a 3 out of 5 or a C. So definitely, if you're a Jurassic Park fan, you could probably still go see this and enjoy it if you're just a Jurassic Park fan, but if you're looking for a movie just as good as the original or just as entertaining as Jurassic World, good luck with that, because this ain't the movie. And all I can say is Jurassic World 3, whatever it's going to be titled, whatever they come up with, guys, really, really, folks, you need to come up with something awesome to make this movie better. To at least make this movie somewhat tolerable, you really need to come up with something magnificent for the third one. And thank you all so much for listening. This has been Geeky Austin.